I've known since I was a little girl I was gonna help women. I just didn't know I was gonna start with their butt. Like, God has a good sense of humor, but turns out it was a really good place to start.
My good friend, Sara Blakely, is one of America's most successful and creative entrepreneurs. She created Spanx out of her apartment, and now you can find her products in over 60 countries worldwide. With her confidence, grit, and sense of humor,
Along came the thong, which still completely confuses me because all that did was put underwear exactly where we had been trying to get it out of.
Sara revolutionized an industry traditionally run by men, and in 2012 became the youngest self-made female billionaire.
Hello, Reese.
Hi!
Welcome to Spanx.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here.
We're so excited to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you. I've heard so much about it, but now I'm finally here at the headquarters.
I know, right?
It's so exciting.
I know. Every time I walk in the door, I actually still pinch myself. I mean, this started out of my apartment.
And now, look, there's like marble everywhere.
I know. I'm like, marble. I can't believe it.
And I was just looking at this when I came in. So this is the story of how you created Spanx.
Yeah. You know, I cut the feet out of control top pantyhose, which are up there.
And then there's the patent that you helped write. Oh my God, that's amazing.
And the picture, the diagram of it is me standing in my mom's living room, and my mom drew it.
This is so great. I would love to see more.
Yes, let's go.
Oh, this is awesome. I think that's so cool. There's your famous mugs. Okay, I see you all the time on Instagram with your mugs. This is her get shit done mug. You can either talk about shit or get shit done. Right, people?
Sounds so good with your accent. Love it. I was the last one on the planet to join Instagram. I was very hesitant. I was, about privacy and this and that. And now it's like, in case you guys needed the full glory of my drop-off outfit for my son, okay? My mom's like, you cannot put that on there.
Okay, this is why I want to talk to you.
Yeah.
You started with $5,000.
I did. I started with $5,000.
And you've never borrowed any money or taken any money?
No.
Wow.
Yeah, I knew so little about how it was supposed to be done that I didn't even really know that was an option. As
So
crazy
you took
as
a
that
chance.
sounds. I did. I took
And
a chance.
learned along the way.
I've kind of looked at the things that I'm afraid of, like I'm afraid of being embarrassed, afraid of failure, all these different things, and I go straight towards them. Growing up, my dad would ask my brother and me at the dinner table what we had failed at that week. I can remember coming home and going, Dad, I tried out for this and I was horrible. And he'd go, way to go, and high-five me. And so I didn't realize it at the time, but he was just completely redefining failure for me.
Yes.
Failure for my brother and me became about not trying versus the outcome.
What an incredible life lesson when you're so young.
I know.
Instead of telling people to try so hard and
Be
think
so perfect
Be so
and-
perfect. This myth of perfection that I think women are trapped in as well.
I mean, people ask me about how this all started, and the soundbite that's out there the most is I cut the feet out of my pantyhose. But the reality is Spanx started long before I did that. And, I started at the age of 16 listening to a lot of motivational, inspirational tapes that talked all about visualization, manifestation, law of attraction. When I was 16 years old, my friend was run over by a car in front of me, and my parents got separated at almost that exact time. That was one of my darkest times. My dad, as he was leaving, came into my bedroom and handed me this cassette tape series. I always had it playing in my car in high school, and no one wanted to be stuck in my car. Like, after every party, people would be like, do not go home with Sara, because she's gonna make you listen to that crap. Fast forward 20 years, I end up on the cover of Forbes, and all I got were texts from people from Clearwater High that said, damn, should have listened to that shit. When I was in my 20s, I was selling fax machines door to door.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like it was the right life that I was in.
Yeah.
And I remember one day, I was like, this is not my life. What happened? And I went home that night and I wrote down, I want to invent my own product that I can sell to millions of people that will make them feel good.
Wow, so you just manifested
I
that.
just wrote it down that day, and then I literally looked up and said, universe, give me the idea, and I will not squander it.
Wow.
And it was 2 years before one day here in Atlanta, I couldn't figure out what to wear under my cream pants. Every time I put them on, you could see the thong or you could see the panty line. And that's really what it came from. And then I cut the feet out of pantyhose and threw them on under the cream pants and was like, done.
This is why I think of you so frequently as a kindred spirit. You see a problem.
Yes.
And you don't talk about the problem. You think, how am I gonna solve the problem?
Yes.
despite how many people said to you, this is a terrible idea.
And as I'm cold calling and standing as this like single girl with this dream of this product in manufacturer plant after manufacturer, I couldn't believe it. Reese, all men were making all of our undergarments, not one woman. When I showed up on manufacturing plants in North Carolina, they have all these plastic forms in the different sizes, a small, a medium, and they would put the product on and they would all sit back with their clipboards and be like, yep, that's a medium. I was like, what? So I just changed the whole model with Spanx. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
This is Reese.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Jedidia. Hi, Jedidia.
Hi, so nice to meet you. I'm Kiana.
Hi, Kiana.
pleasure.
Reese.
We have a whole section of the company that's fitting rooms, and we test everything on body, standing, sitting. You know, we do yoga poses in the fitting room. We're jumping up and down in a strapless bra. We're trying to simulate real life scenarios. Jedidia, she's been with me basically from the start. She started at Spanx out of the back of my apartment after I was 6 months into the business. She has no experience in this either. Like, she was an interior designer, and after 2 weeks of being my assistant, I was like, do you mind being my head of product development? And she's like, I don't know anything about hosiery or shaper. I'm like, me neither. How many times did we hear, can't be done? It'll roll up, it'll slide down, it can't be
That's not how it's done.
It's not how it's done. And we're like, yeah, I know, but let's just see.
My favorite thing is to prove them wrong.
I think it's important to say, like, you didn't go to business school. You didn't go to Wharton.
I always had trouble in school, like with reading comprehension and stuff. So my dream was to be a lawyer. My dad was a litigator, and then I bombed the LSAT. So life had other plans for me, you know?
I was pre-med and thought I was going to be a pediatric neurosurgeon.
Right?
And here we are picking panty prints.
Yes.
And I'd have it no other way.
Yeah.
So what we want to do now is essentially narrow this down to our top 3 to 5 favorites.
Do you have a favorite?
Am I getting to make decisions at Spanx? This is so exciting. I'm feeling the animal prints a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I think cheetah's a neutral. That's what I'm thinking.
Are you gonna do it?
Oh, she is!
I mean, those are really cute and sassy. And it kind of looks good with my blazer. I could just have this in the blazer. I'd be good to go.
I was at a cocktail party, and I had just invented it, and I had boxes in my apartment, and I was super excited. And these 2 guys came up to me, and they said, so, Sarah, we heard you invented something. And I said, yes, I did. I'm so excited. And one guy pat me on the shoulder, and he said, well, you know business is war. And they laughed. And he said, yeah, I hope you're up for it. And I just went home that night, and I, like, sat down on my floor in my apartment and cried. And I was like, I don't want to go to war. Why does it have to be war? What if there's a different way?
You know, I get shopping fever whenever I see these mannequins. Something about a mannequin makes me want to buy everything.
Before I started Spanx, I spent 7 years in a gray cubicle in a corporate environment where it didn't feel like anybody really cared about me or how I felt. And I always thought I'd sit in my cubicle and dream, like, one day if I ever had my own company, I would want to make sure that it was such a happy place. And so this is like, I walk in, I'm like, you know, dreams do come true, like it happened. You know, I employ mostly women, and it's really important to me that I'm as supportive as I can be for any working woman who becomes a working mother, because we're all in the same boat. You know, it's not the kind of culture that if all of a sudden your kid's sick and you have to run to school, that anybody's looking twice at you. Hi. We have a lot of support for each other.
When I was growing up in the South, ambition in a woman was looked at as a negative trait. And I would love your thoughts on what it means to be an ambitious woman.
I feel like that whole messaging was on me as well growing up, but I feel like it's really important for women to feel okay with ambition for themselves. And you know, it was funny, when I married my husband, Jesse,
Who I love. He's such a supportive, wonderful
so
person.
supportive and wonderful, but I didn't get married till I was 37.
Right.
I had been through so many relationships that the money and the success became an issue. I think it was 60 days before I was marrying him. We went to dinner and I said, I have something to tell you. I think he thought I was gonna like call off the wedding, and I go, I think I make more money than you think I do. And he goes like this, what? I was like, yeah. And I haven't
been honest about it.
Yeah. You know what he said to me? He just looked at me and he goes, well, it couldn't have happened to a better person. And then just kept eating his spaghetti.
I love that.
Okay, great.
And I do think women have a lot of fear around money.
Yeah. Like, am I worthy of it? Or how's that going to make my boyfriend feel?
Or my
husband
girlfriends.
feel? Or, right.
I always think back about what my mother said to me when I was a little girl. She said, don't ever let a man control you with money. Always have your own money.
Yeah.
Always have enough to get by and enough to take care of your children. And you will never be in a position in a relationship or a marriage where you feel
Trapped.
threatened or vulnerable. Yeah. Trapped. Yeah. And I say it to my girlfriends sometimes and they say, your mother said that to you? I said, yeah. Didn't your mom say that to you? Yeah. They didn't. So I think it's a great message to put out there for either the mothers in the room or the young girls who haven't heard about that.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing wrong with ambition.
I think about that a lot, the mental tenacity, the drive, the will, and I mean, you have that as well. So like, where does that come from for you?
Because I was an actress for so long, and really young, I got used to people saying, no, you're not good enough, you're not tall enough, you're not skinny enough, you're not pretty enough, you're too Southern, you're too sassy. I also got like, you're not dumb enough sometimes.
You're like, I can't win, what?
I was like, well, I'm sorry. I can accept the idea of not getting the part because I'm just not dumb enough. But
I can't believe someone actually said that to you.
Well, I think you have to be like water off a duck's back. If you want to accomplish anything, I think about people like you or anybody who's accomplished something really extraordinary has to learn to tune out the naysayers.
Yeah, I consider that a life practice for me, is to really work on not caring what other people think.
Yeah.
I think that is something that as women, if we could free ourselves up from feeling that need to look like we have it all together at all times.
Yeah. I have these days when I'm so on it and everything is firing on every cylinder, and there's days where I'm just like 30% of myself.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm lobotomized or something. I had this great coach when I did this movie where I was playing a softball player, and she said, I don't care if you have 30%, give me 100% of that 30%. I was like, thank you, what a relief. Permission to not be perfect.
Right, I like that too.
Yeah, it was really cool. I want to ask you, do you think you see a change coming?
Yes.
I feel
100%.
like something's coming, and I would love to hear your thoughts about that.
I'm a big believer that the male and female energy on the planet has been very out of balance for, about 3,000 years. And so I think the world would be so much better if it was more balanced.
I feel the same thing. When we raise female leadership,
yeah,
and
have more
anyone
balance.
who feels other.
Or even just the feminine way of the thinking and going about it, like giving even men permission to get more in touch with the feminine in them as leaders. So there is a shift happening, and I can feel it.
Yeah.
And it's time.
It is so time.
It's time. We're all gonna be better off.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I love that message. It's perfect. Yes. As Sara Blakely continues to revolutionize the shapewear industry, Candace Nelson is reinventing some of America's favorite foods with her own high-concept twist. Her artisanal pizzeria, Pizzana and Sprinkles, the world's first cupcake-only bakery, are favorites of foodies everywhere.
Hi, Reese. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to see what you guys do.
I can't wait to show you behind the scenes.
Let's do it.
Do it. Come on back.
Oh my gosh, I've always wanted to know what's in the back of a bakery. This is amazing.
Breathe it in.
How many cupcakes does the average store sell a day?
Sell a few thousand, between 1,000 and 3,000 cupcakes per store per day.
Per day?
Yes.
You're kidding me.
No, I'm not kidding you.
That's insane. When I decided to do this show, it was all about focusing on women who've done incredible things in different industries, and I immediately thought of you, first of all, because you're my really good friend, Candace. And then also just you built this business out of a transition in your life.
I like to say I went from banking to baking.
Yes.
Because I was a financial analyst. Natural transition,
Normal,
right? Yeah. And then actually worked at a tech company during the dot-com boom of the late 90s, and then there was the dot-com bust.
Yes.
And I just thought, if I'm gonna have to start over again, we devote so much of our waking lives to work.
Yes.
I wanna do something that I'm really passionate about. So I decided to go to pastry school. I'd always grown up baking. I loved to bake with my mom, and it really was about testing my interest in my hobby. Like, it's fun to bake on the weekends, but would I love to do it if I had to wake up every morning and do it as a job?
Right.
And what I realized was I loved it. I loved working with batter and flour and sugar and great chocolate and beautiful ingredients and making artful things to give to people to enjoy. Baking had always been a hobby for me. It had always been something I loved to do. I was born in Jakarta, Indonesia. There were so many amazing things about living overseas, but I wanted to feel connected to the US. You know, if I wanted a chocolate chip cookie, if I wanted a cupcake or a brownie, I couldn't get them at the store in Sumatra. So I had to make them myself. And so my mom and I would bond baking things we loved from home. And that's how my love of baking first started. You know, I initially started making special occasion cakes and ultimately decided that wasn't a very good business. So I decided I wanted to do something artful, but simpler and something that people could eat on a daily basis. And that led me to the cupcake. At the time, you know, cupcakes were still sort of kid
birthday party
They were
stuff.
like kids' lunchbox. You know,
Yeah.
you find them at the supermarket in the plastic clamshell.
Yeah, they're all plasticky and yucky.
They just weren't good quality. And I thought, if we were to create a cupcake using the same beautiful ingredients and artful design that I use for special occasion cakes, then wouldn't cupcakes appeal to adults too? That's incredible. We had landlords, you know, hang up on us when they heard what our idea was. They said, we want something that's gonna last more than a few months. But when you have something to prove, you're gonna work that much harder. My husband and I had poured all of our life savings into this little bakery, and we were busy right off the bat. We were working around the clock. We were exhausted.
Yes.
There was a line wrapping almost completely around the city block for months.
I think there's a lot of people out there that want to change their life or they want to do something new, but they think, how do I do it? Do I take a risk? That's what I love about your story is that you were fully immersed in a different business and you took a chance. I had a grandma who was like, you can be anything you want to be. And she grew up in a time where she could not be.
Right.
She had a master's degree, one of the first women to have a master's degree in
Wow.
education. But Candace, like, she couldn't get a job being anything but a first grade teacher. And so she had a hard time in life because she never could reach the height of what she wanted to be.
Right.
So I think for the women who came before us and cut this path for us, it's important for us to shine a light on them and have people learn more about the stories of how they accomplished those things.
Right.
So now should we go look at your new concept?
Let's do
Pretty
it.
exciting.
I've never met anybody who loves food the way Candace does. She loves two of my favorite foods, which are cupcakes and pizza. And I think that's what our friendship is basically based on, our love of pizza and cupcakes. Oh, and rosé. Rosé, too.
I'm a sun rising on a brand new day.
You know, there's something about driving with a camera in my face that makes me feel like a Kardashian. I've never felt more glamorous, really.
Well, we're just as appealing. Hey, I wonder, are you ever like the only woman in a room, like in a business situation?
Since I'm now the entrepreneur and the boss
Yeah.
in most settings, I am typically surrounded by women. And I have to say, back in the day, there was this idea that working for women was actually not that desirable because women were known for being tougher bosses than men. Maybe there was this idea that there wasn't enough to go around.
Right.
But also there was this idea that these women had to show other women coming up through the ranks how tough it was to get to where they got.
Yeah. And in my business, you have to have 3 hits to be a success.
Right.
As a woman, instead of like have one little tiny success and now you're a huge megastar, which is what happens with a lot of like male directors.
Right? No
and
one's
stuff.
just gonna bet on you.
Yeah, which is crazy.
That's bizarre. Also, I feel like when I was in the workforce 15 years ago, there was more sort of competition inherent between women. And now there's just this groundswell of support for women by women.
And it's about time.
And that's the key to women getting where they need to be, is women looking out for other women.
I think that's why I buy all your sprinkles.
Thank you, Reese.
Oh my God, we found a parking spot.
Right out front of Pizzana.
Let's go. I love the design.
Thank you.
You worked so hard on it.
We worked really hard on it. Just had to be, you know, casual but comfortable.
Right.
Okay, what we're gonna do, starting to push, control the air until it's flat. Now, the hard part. There you go.
Yeah, that was so fun. So fun.
You can actually see right through it because there's a lot of hole over there.
I know, there's a lot of holes.
You can.
You're calling me out. Daniele, where are you from in Italy?
Napoli, South Italy, Naples.
There's a different way they make pizza there.
Yeah. We just quick stretch the dough, and then the oven is at really high temperature.
Okay.
And it's cooked for 60 seconds. We make our own starter, and the starter was made from my grandfather 62 years ago.
Wait a second, you're telling me this starter came from Italy. Someone
I
carried it over.
No, I carried it.
You carried it?
Yes, in a jar.
That can't,
kidding
that
me.
can't have been
Close
legal,
it,
Danielle.
I got
And they
lucky
didn't
though.
stop you at LAX?
Sorry, I got lucky.
Don't show this to customs.
That's incredible.
I wouldn't fly without it. You know, it's story of my family.
You're literally eating a piece of his family history when you come to Pizzana.
The huge thing about pizza, when people eat it, they always feel so bloated, and they, you know, oh my God, I feel like I had a Titanic in my belly.
Right.
You know, and I wanted to give people a healthy pizza,
Yeah.
still enjoy, walk out 30 minutes, and feel like they had sushi.
Nom, 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 nom. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be delicious. I love green tomatoes.
Perfection.
You're a natural.
Thank
Oh my
you,
gosh, I'm
Danielle.
so
We
excited.
can't wait.
Thank
Great.
you.
Am I supposed to eat this with a fork and a knife?
Well, you can. There
That's
are
what
no
Danielle
rules here.
said.
Well, in Naples, they eat it with a fork and knife because it's so
True.
sort of
Juicy
Yeah, it's
in the middle?
goopy in the middle, so you can't pick it up. But Americans like handheld food. I mean, I kind of
right.
specialize in handheld food, frankly.
You had this successful run with cupcakes. So why pizza, and why did you want to transition?
I consider myself an entrepreneur and a creative person, and I'd run Sprinkles for close to 12 years, and I wanted a new creative challenge. I didn't know what it was going to be, and then when I met Daniele, I found myself saying, somehow, maybe we should do this with you.
Right.
Food is the universal human experience. I mean, it really is. A cupcake, a pizza appeals to everyone, and there's
Yeah.
comfort and pleasure in both of those things.
I don't trust people when they say they don't like cupcakes. I'm like, are you a human being?
Food is so much bigger than what it seems, right? I mean, a cupcake to me isn't just a cupcake. A piece of pizza isn't just a piece of pizza. It's nostalgia. It's reminiscent of happier, simpler times. No, it's something that everyone can have a piece of, and it's a unifying thing. And I love to offer that experience to people.